77 WABC and Bergen Newbridge Medical Center honor the life of legendary broadcaster and our friend, Ernie Anastas.
Hi, it's Ernie Anastas. You know, your thoughts can affect how you feel. Bergen Newbridge Medical Center is the largest hospital in New Jersey, providing comprehensive, equitable, compassionate, and high-quality emergency inpatient and outpatient medical care, plus mental health services and substance use disorder treatment. The Bergen Newbridge team can address your total health needs in one convenient location. Call 201-225-7130 for an appointment or newbridgehealth.org.
So good, so good, so good.
Everything you want for summer is at Nordstrom Rack stores now, and up to 60% off. Stock up and save on the brands you love like Vince, Sam Edelman, Frame, and Free People. Join the Nordy Club to unlock exclusive discounts, shop new arrivals first, and more. Plus, buy online and pick up at your favorite Rack store for free. Great brands, great prices. That's why you Rack.
In the squadron, they called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Well, hello. We're back, and he is gone. President Trump left for China, left the White House, on his way over there, Beijing and the rest. Remember when Nixon did this? I mean, I don't remember, but I remember. He was the first president ever. Now, every president pretty much since has done it, but there's something special going on between President Trump and Xi, and this is very, very important. But fortunately, just before he got the hell out of America, he talked to Sid Rosenberg, our own Sid Rosenberg, right here. And we continue that conversation. I'll say again, I always like to, people ask me, what do you watch? What do you listen to in terms of media? Not much, to be honest. What I do is I watch unedited full versions of public events. I read opinions from judges. I read rulings and reports, and I don't let anybody summarize it for me, for the most part. To the extent I do, I'm just kind of really looking at how unfair they are, and I might do a little mild media criticism or very extreme media criticism. But opportunities like this to just shoot the breeze with the President of the United States are precious, and they should be celebrated and listened to. So let's continue.
They're totally good. Look, we have $18 trillion being invested in New York. The other day I got a call from Eli Lilly. They're spending billions of dollars in new plants. I said, so why are you doing it? They said tariffs. Because remember, if they build their plant here, there's no tariffs. They said, we're doing it for tariffs. I knew that. I've known it for 25, 30 years.
You know what's amazing to me, too, as we wrap up this conversation in a couple of minutes, going back to the Democrats for a second, I'm in New York, and not that long ago, President Trump, we had an 83-year-old war vet, Vietnam vet, okay?
Right.
And he was thrown to his death on the subway tracks here in New York City by an illegal. By the way, the mayor never said a word. The governor never said a word. He was thrown to his death on the subway tracks. It was not long before after Sheridan Gorman was shot in the back, murdered in Chicago, Illinois. We had about 3 of those in the same week. And I just don't understand what exactly do the Democrats need to see to figure out that ICE is deporting all these horrible people, murderers, rapists, drug dealers. They're keeping our cities safe. We've got Americans being murdered every week by these illegals. What else do they have to see?
Well, you alluded to it before, the word Democrat. So that's what they are. It's funny. The other day I was truthing something out, and I can't imagine such a simple, you just change the E to a U and get rid of the B because it's a little and you have Democrat. And I have had more calls on that. I've been good at names over the years.
Yes, you are.
I don't want to go into them because now many of those people are friends, so I'm not going to go into them. But I better not talk about them. But there are some like Pocahontas, like fake news is my term. I came up with a lot of good things. But the word Democrat, and the reason is I was talking about Hakeem Jeffries, a low IQ person, and the hatred he has for the country. And he says, hey, I was unhappy with decisions of the Supreme Court, but you can't call it illegitimate. If I made the statement that the Supreme Court is illegitimate, they would do numbers on me. They would go absolutely crazy. This guy said the Supreme Court of the United States is illegitimate. Anyway, I'm looking at some of his statements and the way he goes about them, and I think he's a very dumb guy. I think he's a guy with a very low IQ. And I just said he's a Democrat. He's a Democrat. Now, I think it's a beauty, but you never know. You never know about names. I do. People come to me, could you give me a name for my opponent? They say, give me a break. I have guys, politicians. They've been politicians for 20 years. They come to see me, sir. Could you give me a name for my opponent? I said, all right, describe him to me. But anyway, it's sort of funny.
Great.
But
that is great.
I think the name Democrat is very accurate.
No, I agree. And if you think about what may happen in 2028, which is a sad day for me because the day you leave, I don't know what I'm going to do. I talk about this with our friend Steve Flicker every day. What are we going to do when President Trump's not here anymore? But, I love Marco Rubio. That's a whole other discussion. But the Democrats, I'm hearing Kamala Harris. I'm hearing AOC. Let me say it again because you have to say it. These are not smart people, okay? Forgetting about the fact whether they're men, women, black, white, I don't care. They're not smart people. These are the people, whether it's Gavin Newsom or Buttigieg, these are the people that the Democrats are going to put out there in 2028. It's an embarrassment. Yeah, well, it's not good, and we do have a good bench. I will say we have a great bench. We have some great people, as you know, and we're doing great. The economy is going to be unbelievable as soon as this war ends. It already is. They said we just broke the record for the best stock market. 401ks are booming for people. And I think we're going to have – I had the best economy in history in my first 4 years, and I think this one's going to blow it. But I had to take a little excursion down to the beautiful country of Iran. I had to do a little excursion and get rid of the nuclear weapons. And by the way, Khomeini's not there. Soleimani's not there any longer. All those, what we had to do is incredible, but they have evil intentions. These people have evil intentions, and you can't let it happen. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. And people understand that. And if they did, they'd use it. They'd blow up all sorts of parts of the world. It could be us too. Could be. No, we're not going to let that happen. No, we're not. Yep. Two more quickly. Steve Scalise told John Catsimatidis, President Trump, and we're on AM radio here in New York. I know this is a lot less important than Iran, but it's really not because AM radio has served as an emergency signal, as you know, for many, many years. And you love our station. And by the way, Catsimatidis is a great guy. He's a good businessman, a great family too. But he runs at ABC with love. He really is fantastic. He is, and I love him too. He's so good for the country. He loves. I listened to him last week. He loves the country. He's probably a tough cookie. I don't know, but he certainly likes you a lot. Yeah. I'd like to be your agent. He's actually I could sign you for anything. I want to be your agent. Could we make that happen right now, President Trump? Could you be my agent? Yes. I love that. But he's done a great job with ABC, and it's really you're very heavily listened to. Now you need the talent like you. In all fairness, John He can only do so much, but he's got a winner with you. That I can tell you. We just got to keep that AM signal going. I love you. God, I love you. Thank you. Last one, and then we'll let you run here. Knickerbockers are in the Eastern Conference Finals. I had my guys this morning look up pictures of President Trump sitting courtside when he was just Donald Trump at a Knick playoff game. I found a couple. I got to go back a couple of years. Are you still a Knick fan, President Trump? Well, I am, and I get along with Jim Dolan. I think he's a really nice guy, and he's entitled to a good team because he's suffered a little bit. And boy, some of these players have turned out to be great players. Yeah. And Philadelphia is a tough team. You look at them as a team. Their center, Embiid, he's a big guy. And no, you thought it would be good, and they were winning by 35 points. It's great. No, I really like Jim Dolan a lot. I'm really happy for him and for the team. I think it's great. You know who loves you the most in New York? And I'm with him all the time now. He's become my BFF in the Bronx. Randy Levine, you guys had that great, you had that great college conference, you and Mike and Marco and Tiger and Urban Meyer and Nick Saban and Randy Levine. Yeah. Levine loves you, President Trump. He loves you. Yeah, he's a fantastic guy. George was very lucky when he got Randy. He was deputy mayor and he was a really competent guy, and George Steinbrenner saw it right away, and he said, I got to get this guy, and he took him from the city. Randy was one of the best ever deputy mayors, and George took him. It was a great move. But Randy's working to straighten out college sports now. The NIL is a disaster, and Randy's working. Look, if he can't do it, I said,
I'll give you the power of the Oval Office. I mean, we'll do whatever you want because you got to straighten out college sports. And now they have young quarterbacks that never threw a ball before. Practically, he's like 18 years old. They signed for $12 million, $14 million. The colleges are going to go busted all over the place. The whole thing is out of control. All because the judge, who had no idea what I think she was doing, but a judge, a very radical left judge, decided that college sports was illegal. I mean, and they didn't appeal it.
Nope.
They didn't appeal it.
Nope.
They should have appealed that decision. They would have won. And now it's a mess. What a mess. Because don't forget, you have football, but you also have fencing and wrestling and lots of other sports, and they're all being left out. And the ones that are hurt the most are women.
Yep.
Because they're cutting all the women's sports.
Yep.
Women are just devastated by this. All because of a judge that had no idea what she or he was doing. I think it was a she in this case. And they didn't appeal the decision, which is too bad. You know, it takes 100 years to build up a thing like that. And then they have it built up. It's a fine running machine. You know, kids got scholarships and it all worked out. And now you have a thing like this. It's really a mess. It's a shame. But Randy Levine will solve it.
Yes, he will. I agree. So do you realize, President Trump, that we just talked about everything from New York City to Iran to China to the Knickerbockers to college football to AM radio? This is why you're the greatest president of all time. And quite frankly, I believe the most interesting human being that God ever created. There's nothing you can't discuss. I swear to God, you're a genius. I love you.
Yeah, but while I was talking to you, you mentioned AM radio, and I guess what do they want to do? Take it off the cars or something?
Yes,
I heard
they want to take it off.
I gotta stop that. Why are they doing that? You know, Sid, tell me.
I don't know.
Your listeners don't mind. Said, why are they doing that? Why do they want to take AM radio? It's so ridiculous. Why?
I don't know, but I know that Steve Scalise and Katsimatidis had the discussion, and Steve said the one person that can save AM radio, he called you the big guy, is the big guy. So when Sid talks to President Trump, make sure Sid brings it up, so I'm bringing it up.
Well, you know, I don't know if you know it, but I delayed it a long time in my first term. I delayed it, and it got delayed, but you know, time flies, and now all of a sudden it's coming up again. They were going to do it in my first term, and I wouldn't allow it to happen.
That's right.
I'm going to have to get rid. And that's the auto companies. They don't want to put it in the cars or something. I don't know why, but AM radio I could say the Democrats, because you know, AM radio is sort of known as conservative. They have guys like you. They have good old Rush. We miss Rush Limbaugh, don't we? But yes. You have Sean Hannity. You have such great people. And it would tend to be right. It would tend to be conservative Republicans. So I guess that's why they want to do it.
That's your answer.
I think I just may be able to do another one. But I'm glad you mentioned it because, you know, it's not on my radar for some reason. And, like, you have to keep ABC around. I don't mean ABC because ABC television network is the worst. They are the worst of my opinion, they're the worst. But you're not. I don't even consider you affiliated with them at all. It's just but because John Catsimatidis has done a phenomenal job. He should run ABC television network. He should run the ABC television stuff. They are the worst of all.
They are, but this whole radio station loves you. From John Catsimatidis, who you're right is a great guy, to me, to Brian Kilmeade, to Greg Kelly, to Mark Levin. We're all on the station. Bill O'Reilly.
What? All good names.
Yeah.
Greg Kelly is great. Mark Levin is so great. Those guys are all really good. Every one of them you mentioned. It's just a special group. I'm going to look into what you told me about. Boy, this could have been a very good call for talk radio. No, really. I mean, this is the way it happens, you know, because that's not on my radar. And all of a sudden it gets done and you don't even know about it. But I wish people would have called me. But indirectly, you called me by calling me to be on your show, right? So I'll give you the credit.
Well, look,
I'll work on that.
You're a little busy these days saving the world. You know, not a big thing.
Well, we're saving it. Well, look, our country's doing. I'm telling you, Sid, we have the hottest country in the world, and we were dead 1.5 years ago with Biden.
Yep,
Biden was a horrible president. So was Obama, by the way. He was a terrible president. He was a divider. And Biden he didn't know where the hell he was. What a terrible president. I'll tell you what, another 2 years or 1 year of that kind of thinking, we wouldn't have had, welfare would have doubled, and the $18 trillion that we're taking in would have been $18 trillion going out. And the combination, we would have had a destroyed country. It would have been a ruination.
Oh, I agree. And that's why you hear smart people say, and I know you were talking about it on Truth Social just yesterday, my favorite website of all, that Donald Trump and Ronald Reagan, possibly, I know you love Abe Lincoln too, you're a history buff, Mr. President, but Trump and Reagan, the two best presidents of all time, and you got to go a long way down that list to find a Democrat, right? Long way down that list.
Well, you do. There were some, but they were a long time ago. This is a different party. You know, the Democrats today are a different party. Today they're a party where they want things that you can't. Who would think of transgender mutilization of your children?
He's totally right. Okay, they're wrapping up right there. What an amazing conversation. And you heard the beautiful words about me, Greg Kelly. So thankful to President Trump and Sid Rosenberg. Thank you very much, gentlemen. All right. Now, if you're heading into summer without a medical emergency kit, you are taking a risk. Look at this hantavirus stuff. Look at this crazy situation across the world, across the country. Most people don't think about it until it's too late. Okay? You got to get on this. Summer colds linger and can turn into sinus infections that last for weeks. Getting sick right before vacation can derail everything. And when you're traveling, finding a doctor and pharmacy is stressful. And that's why I ordered a medical emergency kit. It's like having urgent care in a pharmacy right at home. It includes essential prescriptions like amoxicillin and a generic Z-Pack to treat a wide range of common and serious illnesses. So if you wake up sick at home or on the road, you already have what you need. No waiting for your doctor, no hours at urgent care, no pharmacy lines, no copays. Just match your symptoms to the right prescription in your guidebook or call the telemedicine doctor standing by. Start those meds sooner, feel better faster. One medical emergency kit, you need this thing. Orders will be accepted, all right away with the promo code Greg. All right, go to urgentcarekit.com/Greg for $45 off. urgentcarekit.com/Greg. That's urgentcarekit.com/Greg for $45 off.
Greg Kelly.
Let's go, Brandon.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network. The following is a paid issue advertisement.
If the vote count is accurate, then how come the number of voters is different? And if it's not accurate, then why was it certified? We are suing Letitia James and the New York State Board of Elections for a conspiracy against fundamental rights. This is not about who won. It's not about what party. It's about the fact that they don't care about your rights.
Paid for by RealAmerica.vote, a DBA of New York Citizens Audit Civic Fund, Incorporated.
Go to RealAmerica.vote.
Adobe Firefly is the all-in-one creative studio with AI-powered image and video editing for today's creative process. Built for creators of every kind, Firefly helps you generate, edit, and experiment fast. Because the asks aren't getting smaller, the budgets aren't getting bigger, and the timelines, oh yeah, still tight. With all the best creative AI models in one place, Firefly brings your ideas to life. Unlock a better way to make with Adobe Firefly.
Ready to soundtrack your summer? With Red Bull Summer All Day Play, you choose a playlist that fits your summer vibe the best. Are you a festival fanatic, a deep end DJ, a road dog, or a trail mixer? Just add a song to your chosen playlist and put your summer on track. Red Bull Summer All Day Play. Red Bull gives you wings. Visit redbull.com/brightsummer ahead to learn more. See you this summer.
Ready to transform your career in real time from where you are? Brown University's flexible online master's programs will help expand your business influence and your network in just 16 months. Choose from management, business analytics, or organizational leadership programs that will prepare you for today's most pressing business challenges without putting your life on hold. Scholarships available. Tap to learn more.
Greg Kelly.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
In New York, because tolls are very high and a lot of folks do, we got, I don't want to say the best transit system in the world, not far from it, but there's plenty of transit, right? People do that. What I'm trying to say is I don't hear a lot of people talking all that much about the gas prices. They go up, they go down. I don't think I run in particularly, unusual circles, but I don't think that many people are talking about it in my experience, but they sure are on the fake news, and it sounds a lot like this. Cut 1.
Now to the pain at the pump that people are feeling coast to coast. Memorial Day, not just 2 weeks away, and as folks start dreaming of those summer road trips, gas prices still above $4.50 a gallon on average.
As soaring gas prices and airport chaos leave Americans rethinking summer vacation plans.
As gas prices continue to soar, reaching $4.52 a gallon on average in the U.S. today.
If you're planning to drive for Memorial Day, filling up that tank for your road trip, as we've been talking about, that's going to cost you. Gas prices are about $1.35 higher than they were last Memorial Day, according to AAA. And remember, we're still 2 weeks away, so anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Anything can happen. Gas prices are at $4.50. That's not a. It's just not a crisis. They were higher under Joe Biden. And what were they talking about when we had record prices under Joe? It's pretty amazing to hear the comparison. When we return, everybody, and thanks again, President Trump.
Greg Kelly
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
At first, I didn't think it was real. I woke up to this blinding light, and I was transported to another place. Pluto TV. Then I heard a voice.
Come with me if you want to live.
There were thousands of movies and shows, and they were all free.
Truth is ours.
It's just so beautiful.
On Pluto TV, free streaming of Terminator 2, Fringe, Arrow, The 100, and The X-Files may cause excitement, loss of sleep, and sudden belief in extraterrestrials. No credit cards or alien encounters necessary. Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Now to the pain at the pump that people are feeling coast to coast. Memorial Day, not just 2 weeks away, and as folks start dreaming of those summer road trips, gas prices still above $4.50 a gallon on average.
As soaring gas prices and airport chaos leave Americans rethinking summer vacation plans.
As gas prices continue to soar, reaching $4.52 a gallon on average in the U.S. today.
If you're planning to drive for Memorial Day, filling up that tank for your road trip, as we've been talking about, that's going to cost you. Gas prices are about $1.35 higher than they were last Memorial Day, according to AAA. And remember, we're still 2 weeks away, so anything can happen.
So that's prices right now. That's now. That's news clips from yesterday and the weekend. And panic. So we looked it up, and the record high gas prices actually ever in your American history took place in 2022. It was June 14th, and these are all the headlines from that day. And I know, I mean, there are some places where gas prices are higher than $4.50, right? That's why we call it the average. It is the average. I know about California, but it's the same thing on this June 14th, 2022. It's an average. $5 is an average. Lots of places lower, lots of places higher. It was the average. And you heard about their panic, right? Almost like they, I don't know, were possibly trying to help one party and hurt the other, right? With the midterms coming up, what was 2022? Oh, that was a midterm election year, huh? How about that one? So what? They must have been really worried about the gas prices that were $5, right? Wrong. Cut 2, please.
Today on ABC News Live, new revelations from investigators on the January 6th committee. What former President Trump allegedly knew before the attack on the Capitol.
We have a lot to get to this hour. In its second hearing, the House committee investigating the January 6th attack on the Capitol traced the origins of Donald Trump's big lie.
If it wasn't already clear, it is now. This committee means business. They also just released stunning video testimony from a Trump lawyer telling coup architect John Eastman, you better find yourself a good lawyer.
Oh, my gosh. Wow, that's breaking news. A lawyer might need a lawyer because he was in trouble with the fake news and the Democrats and a corrupt system. You may need a lawyer, and he did need a lawyer. January 6th. And by the way, that was June 14th of 2022. January 6th, the notorious one, happened in 2021. January 6th, a year and a half earlier. Isn't that really something? A year and a half earlier. So look, for all the hand-wringing and the angst and the anxiety that I hear about the midterm elections, I think we're going to be, look, we should be fine, all right? The MAGA should prevail. What do the Democrats have to stand for? What are they into right now? Hating on Trump, yes. Trying to blow this war up into something it's not. There's that. Oh, and don't forget, because they're still in love with the boys pretending to be girls. A.B. Hernandez, I call him Aaron Hernandez. It's a trans person in Southern California in high school who just likes dressing up like a girl and then going into the girls' events so he can win and beat them and probably look at them and do lewd things in the locker room. Cut 3, please. Here's the freak right now. Cut 3.
It was exciting to hit 5'10" again because, like, in the beginning, like, I was like 5'6", and like everyone was struggling, and it was just like kind of random, and it was just like, what's going on? So then I just moved my mark a bit back because I just kept hitting it. So I was like, okay, I'll just move a bit back, and then hopefully it'll help me clear 5'6", and it did. And then that kind of momentum just drove me to get over 5'8", and then 5'10" on my last attempt, I believe.
All right. Well, I couldn't catch all of that, but that's a man boasting about beating all the girls. And there were some heroes there. This is at Yorba Linda, California. Yorba Linda. It's true. I looked it up. I was right. Nixon's hometown, Richard Nixon's hometown, B-1 bomb Dornan. This is, conservative America, or it was, and it's slipping away. But there are some patriots who are standing up, and I don't care what their party is, right? This really transcends party. Or maybe it doesn't, because Democrats actually are for this stuff. And they're stone cold crazy. So let me hear from these heroes right outside. Cut 4. They're outside the track meet in Yorba Linda. Cut 4.
Gavin Newsom is a spineless bully to our daughters. He whispers it's unfair, then rams boys into girls' sports, showers, scholarships, while smearing us moms and others that are fighting this as bigots and other names. He's actually trying to cause harm to those that are speaking up.
Yeah, he is. Very bad guy. Very strange man. I don't know what the hell's going on there. What is he all about? Well, I know also this. He's dumb. He's so dumb. So dumb. So dumb. All right. Oh, did I mention, I don't know if you saw my video last night, the GLPs, man, they are taking off. President Trump did bring down the prices. The thing that I'm on, Zepbound, was costing over $1,000 a month. Fortunately, I went on it recently, so I've never paid that much. I'm paying $2.99 a month. And look, it's worth it. So far, it's worth it. I tried to lose weight. I wanted to lose a lot of weight, and I went on a diet March 1st, and I wound up gaining 2 pounds. So in the middle of April, I guess it was, maybe on the early side of April, I went on this thing, and I've lost 12 pounds. And I can tell it's really making a difference. People are noticing it. I'm only 1 month in, and I'm very excited. Now, is it ideal? Of course not. Would I love to do it naturally? Yes. Can I do it naturally? I don't know if I can. I may not be equipped to do it. I just been trying for so long. It's like a miracle drug in so many ways. Now, miracle drugs have side effects. A lot of these side effects are actually decent. They're actually good. Hey, James Comey is making all kinds of noise because, as they used to say about President Trump, the walls are closing in on him. The walls are closing in. James Comey, big shot. Here he is pretending that he doesn't think he's in trouble. Cut 11.
And I'm innocent. So let's have a trial. And keep the faith.
And keep the faith. Let's have a trial. I found out every trial he's been involved in, and there have been 2 so far, his lawyers moved to dismiss. They don't want a trial. Let's have a trial. It's one of the many ways he just, lies. Also this, because all of this stuff is coming out again. And I have to say, conservatives too much, we fall for the trap set by the dominant media. Dominant media doesn't want to talk about the Russia hoax, right? So we don't talk about the Russia hoax, right? Because they're not talking about it. Too much of conservative media reacts to what the dominant media is doing. And the dominant media never talks about issues that are beneficial to Trump or, show that he was a victim or anything like that. They don't care. They want to cover that stuff up. And too often my friends in conservative media fall for the trap. So you may remember President Trump, they spied on his campaign. Do you remember this? Because it really happened. Cut 6.
But they've been spying on my campaign. I told you that a long time ago. They spied on my campaign. That's right. They spied on my campaign. And if they were Democrats, they would have been in jail 2 years ago. Hard to believe it could have happened. but it did. There was spying in my campaign. By the way, they spied on my campaign. They got caught.
They did get caught. And to this day, that's just President Trump being ridiculous. That's just President Trump being crazy. There's no evidence of that. Cut 7, please. Cut 7.
Bombshell. President Trump's shocking and evidence-free claim that President Obama had Trump Tower wiretapped before the election.
President Trump still offering no proof to support the unprecedented and inflammatory accusations he made on Twitter this weekend.
This whole story, let's be honest, this whole story is such BS. He's a proven troll.
Even by his own standards, the president leveled an extraordinary accusation against his predecessor.
These are among the most incendiary charges ever made in the history of our country by one president against one of his predecessors, and I think they're destructive to our democracy.
It's destructive to the democracy for President Trump to say that out loud when it happened to him. Evidence-free. Evidence-free. There's no evidence of that. They never understood that as president and as, oh, by the way, the target of these investigations, that he might have more information than they have, right? Some of the information, he's the president. Oh, we couldn't Google it. We could find no published report about it. Well, he's the president. He knows things that you don't. He actually knows things that you don't, and that some Democrats do. Here's James Clapper, Director of National Intelligence. This is still amazing to me. He goes on a book tour. That's where these guys put themselves in danger. You know, generally speaking, I don't think every CIA director gets a book. I don't think every FBI director gets a book. I don't think every DNI director gets a book. The Director of National Intelligence. Why would anybody? Who is that guy? Well, it was a guy named James Clapper, and he hated Trump. He said so in his own book. And then he has to go out and sell that book. And you never know what they're going to ask you. All right. So he's on the Don Lemon show. Cut 8, please. James Clapper. This was an appointee. He actually goes all the way back to Bush, but he flourished under Obama. Director of National Intelligence. That means the CIA, OSI, DIA, all of these intelligence agencies actually reported to him. Very important job. Go ahead with that, please.
Director, here's what the president tweeted this morning. He said, wow, word seems to be coming out that the Obama FBI spied on the Trump campaign with an embedded informant. If so, this is bigger than Watergate. I mean, that is an extraordinary claim. And based on your experience, what is the likelihood that it's true?
They may have had someone who was talking to them in the campaign, but you know, the focus here, and as it was with the intelligence community, is not on the campaign per se, but what the Russians were doing to try to instantiate themselves in the campaign or to influence or leverage it. So if there was someone that was observing that sort of thing, well, that's a good thing.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing that we have a guy in your campaign unknown to the candidate listening to phone calls. What are you talking about? And he wouldn't say the word spy, but on The View, of all places, this guy's got to sell his dopey book that nobody really wants to read. But it's payback. It's payback for trying to sabotage the president of the United States, as he did basically on a daily basis. He was involved in this entire campaign. And let's see here. Cut 9, James Clapper, again, Director of National Intelligence under Obama. Cut 9.
Was the FBI spying on Trump's campaign?
No, they were not. They were spying on a term I don't particularly like, but on what the Russians were doing, trying to understand, were the Russians infiltrating, trying to gain access, trying to gain leverage and influence.
So why doesn't he like
what they do?
So why doesn't he like that? He should be happy though.
Well, he should be. You know, this is a fairly benign tool available to the FBI, given all the other capabilities available to them.
Like assassination? What is he talking about? Like going in guns blazing like they did to Roger Stone? What do you mean by that? This is very benign. Spying on somebody. He used the word spying. Very benign tool. No, that's pretty gosh damn intrusive. That's the unreasonable search and seizure. We have constitutional protections about that. Oh, well, we got a judge. Yeah, you lied to the judge. They lied to the judge. They lied to the judge, and they pretended that the subject, that there was a guy. Literally, I think his name was Carter Page. Carter Page had been to Russia. And guess what? Carter Page actually had done some work for the CIA. And they tried to pretend that Carter Page was actually some sort of Russian spy. So we got a spy on this Russian spy, Carter Page. Even though they knew he wasn't a Russian spy, they had that information and they kept it from the judge. And the judge would say, like, wait, what are you doing? What are you bothering this guy for? He's not a spy. He works for us. Yeah, I've been to Russia. I wonder if they, right? Could they have played that game with me? Well, he's been to Russia. Yes, in high school. And I don't like those guys. Anyway, it goes on like this. James Clapper on the Meet the now he's screwed because he said the word spying and he can't take it back. So he tries to put it in some sort of weirdo context and it's not working. Cut 10.
Well, first of all, I have an aversion to the use of the word spy, but let's just, for the sake of discussion, use that term, which conventionally means the use of tradecraft, using a formally trained case officer who would mask identity, who would attempt to recruit. So none of the classical attributes of spycraft, if I can use that term, were present here. This is the most benign form of information gathering.
Again, that benign form. Spycraft. What does that mean? You didn't have drop boxes. You don't have to do all that spy stuff anymore, but you're still spying. You are still spying. It's still a spy. Now, a couple of other little things here. I found a quote, James Comey in 2003 telling New York Magazine that at one point he was a communist. James Comey, the director of the FBI, was at one point in his life, in his adult life, a communist. Don't you think that's, what do you call it? Disqualifying? That's why you have background checks. And not only was that son of a bitch, so was the other guy, at the CIA. He was a communist too. He said so. And he actually almost got caught. They almost threw him out of the CIA until they said, no, actually, we could use a guy like you. We actually like communists around here. No kidding. John Brennan, former director of the CIA, total Trump hater. Cut 12, please. Hello?
Have you ever worked for a foreign government or for an organization dedicated to the subversion or the overthrow of the U.S. government? I thought for a moment. Nothing came to mind, and I was about to respond in the negative when it hit me like a ton of bricks. Oh, my God, I said to myself, as I remembered my vote in the 1976 presidential election.
Oh, what happened in that 1976 presidential election? Next, cut, please.
I took a deep breath and said, well, I voted for the Communist Party candidate for president in 1976, but only because I was fed up with the partisan politics of both the Democrats and the Republicans.
Huh. You were fed up with the partisan politics of the Democrat and Republicans all the way back in 1976. In the past 50 years, do you think there's less partisan or more partisan? Do you think he grew to like our country a little bit more? No, actually, he didn't. he didn't. And here's the guy who gives him the pass. Cut 14, please. John Brennan, CIA director, by the way. CIA director. Cut 14.
He must have seen the look of fear on my face and caught me off guard by smiling just a bit and saying, as an American, it is your absolute right to vote for whomever you choose. It will not affect your application to CIA.
Well, that's the problem. You absolutely have every right. Yeah, you do, but you don't have a right to work at the Central Intelligence Agency. But it's part of the deep state. It is thoroughly corrupt, and they think they're more important than those schmucks who go through the trouble of getting elected. They really do, and that's a big problem. I know they're not the best people in the world, but they were elected. 800-848-9222. 800-848-9222.
Greg Kelly.
Let's go, Brandon.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
POTUS is speaking at the White House on his way to China. Let's go.
They know that. They've agreed to that. And then that's not what they said to me when it came to pay. We don't play games. They're not going to have a nuclear weapon.
Mr. President, you promised to bring inflation down. It's now at its highest level in 3 years. Are your policies not working? What's happening?
Policies are working incredibly. If you go back to just before the war, for the last 3 months, inflation was at 1.7%. Now, we had a choice. Let these lunatics have a nuclear weapon. If you want to do that, then you're a stupid person, and you happen to be. I mean, I know you very well. Anybody that wants them to have a nuclear weapon is a stupid person. So we said we're going to take the greatest stock market in history, and we're going to go down a little bit. And actually, that turned out to be incorrect because our stock market is now at the highest point in history, which frankly surprised a lot of people. It's a very simple message. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, and they won't have a nuclear weapon. And that's 100%. Their Navy is gone. Their Air Force is gone. Their anti-aircraft is gone. Their radar is gone. Their leaders are gone. They're all gone. Iran will not have a nuclear weapon.
Are you ready to extend the waiver on Russian oil to use the global food crisis?
We're going to do whatever is necessary, and as soon as this war is over, which will not be long, you're going to see oil prices drop, and you're going to see a stock market, which is already at the highest point in history, go through the roof. You're going to see the golden age of America, frankly, and you're seeing it now. So as soon as this is done, don't forget, you have hundreds of ships that are loaded up with oil that want to come out. As soon as they come out, we're going to have a gusher of oil, and you're going to have inflation that goes way down. Now, with all of this, inflation is much lower than it was under Biden. Biden had the highest inflation in the history of our country. Inflation is nothing by comparison, but our inflation is just short term. Because if you go from just before the war, we were for the last 3 months 1.7%. And now what you have is as soon as this war is over, you're going to see inflation go down to probably 1.5%.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Mr. President, yesterday you said the good affairs
All right. He's on a roll. He's on fire. Off to China. Safe travels, Mr. President. Stay in touch, and we'll be right back.
Thanks for listening to The Greg Kelly Show. You can hear The Greg Kelly Show weekdays at 12:15 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder, what the heck is going on here?